gonna wake up in the morning and the alarm gives out a warning. I don't think I'll ever make it on time. By the time I grab my books and I give myself...
Do you remember when Saturday mornings felt like magic? When the sound of a theme song could transport you straight into the bright hallways of Bayside High, where the biggest problems were bad grades, broken hearts, and running out of hair gel before the school dance. For millions of kids growing up in the late 1980s and early 1990s, Saved by the Bell wasn't just a TV show. It was a ritual, a glimpse of teenage life that seemed effortlessly cool and endlessly fun. It was the era of big hair, louder fashion, and optimism that glowed through every pastel frame. Zach, Kelly Slater, Jessie, Lisa, and Screech weren't just characters. They were the friends everyone wished they had. But behind those bright smiles and laugh tracks, the story of Saved by the Bell was far stranger than anyone realized. From secret rewrites and forgotten pilots to casting surprises and cultural contradictions, its journey was filled with the kind of twists only Hollywood could invent. Today, we open that yearbook one more time to uncover 12 weird and wonderful facts that reveal the real story behind the show that defined a generation. Fact number 12. Jesse's "I'm so excited" breakdown. There are moments in television that time simply refuses to forget. For Saved by the Bell, that moment came when Jesse Spano clutched a handful of caffeine pills, trembling, crying, and gasping out the words, "I'm so excited. I'm so scared." To a generation of Saturday morning viewers, it was both shocking and unforgettable, a scene that became legend, meme, and moral lesson all in one breath. Yet behind this iconic breakdown lies a truth more revealing than the episode itself. In the original script, Jessie wasn't supposed to spiral over caffeine. She was written to be addicted to amphetamines, real drugs, real stakes. But in 1989, American television had strict boundaries. NBC executives panicked at the thought of hard drugs on a teen show. The nation was still deep in its just say no era, where even candy cigarettes caused outrage. So caffeine pills replaced amphetamines, and the serious anti-drug story became a sanitized, cautionary tale. Ironically, the censorship that diluted the message turned the scene into something unintentionally comedic. The very drama that once warned about addiction later evolved into an enduring pop culture joke. Still, that awkward shift reflected more than network anxiety. It revealed how the 1990s preferred moral comfort over realism. While Saved by the Bell avoided darkness, it gave a glimpse of a generation still learning how to talk about mental health and substance use. Decades later, the scene became a viral symbol of overacting and innocence, but also a nostalgic reminder of when TV tried earnestly, if clumsily, to teach children about life's real dangers. And as fans laughed, quoted, and shared the clip, they kept Jesse's trembling voice alive. Proof that even the most awkward television moments can leave emotional fingerprints that outlast the laughter. Fact number 11. Zack Morris is trash. If Jesse's breakdown exposed the show's naive morality, the internet later exposed something else entirely: the truth about Bayside High's golden boy. For years, Zack Morris was the rebel with a smirk, clever, confident, and somehow always forgiven. But when the web series Zack Morris is Trash appeared decades later, nostalgia met forensic comedy. Every episode dissected his schemes like a true crime case, revealing that the charming hero of the 1990s was in fact manipulative, selfish, and morally questionable. Audiences who once adored Zack began seeing a different character, not a hero, but a reflection of a culture that romanticized deception as charisma. Each prank, each shortcut, each emotional betrayal was reframed under the cold light of modern ethics. The result was both hilarious and sobering. How had a generation celebrated a boy who routinely sabotaged friends, lied to teachers, and objectified girls, all while escaping consequences? The answer lies in what Saved by the Bell represented: a fantasy world where charm overpowered accountability. In the 1990s, Zack's confidence looked like leadership. In the 2020s, it reads as entitlement. The shift says more about us than about him. Through humor and hindsight, fans learned that nostalgia isn't just memory, it's mirror. Fittingly, the internet's rediscovery of Zack's darker side brought his story full circle. The same moral simplicity that once softened Jesse's addiction now unraveled Zack's heroism. What was once Saturday morning cool became a study in 1990s ethics, charming, reckless, and deeply flawed. It's a reminder that growing up doesn't just mean leaving high school. It means re-examining what we were taught there, even if it came with a laugh track. Fact number 10. Zack's $4,000 cell phone. In the early 1990s, nothing screamed power and popularity like the sight of Zack Morris flipping open his enormous gray cell phone in the middle of class. To today's audience, it looks like a brick. But in 1990, that brick was a symbol of ultimate luxury, a Motorola Dynatac, worth nearly $4,000, equivalent to over $9,000 today. For a high school student, that wasn't just unrealistic. It was fantasy. The phone became part of Zack's persona, a walking embodiment of confidence, privilege, and the illusion that teenagers could own the future. Long before smartphones turned communication into obsession, that plastic rectangle promised control. Zack used it for everything from ordering pizza to juggling girlfriends, making technology feel like a secret weapon of charm. Yet hidden within that oversized gadget was a reflection of the decade itself, an era fascinated by wealth and image. The 1990s taught millions of viewers that success could fit in your hand, that gadgets equaled glamour. It was television's quiet introduction to the consumer dream that would later dominate the 2000s. Everyone wanted to hold a little piece of power. Looking back, it's remarkable how a single prop foreshadowed the world to come. Today's teenagers may carry thinner phones, but the obsession is the same: attention, connection, control. Zack's phone wasn't just a plot device. It was the first teenage status symbol of the digital age, decades before selfies and notifications would define social life. Fact number 9. The very special episodes. If Zack's phone captured the shiny side of youth, the show's very special episodes exposed the awkward struggle of a network trying to teach morals to kids eating sugary cereal. Each was an attempt to be serious about drugs, disabilities, or body image, yet they landed somewhere between sincere and surreal. One episode had Zack befriending a girl in a wheelchair, awkwardly treating her like fragile glass until she called him out. Another featured a plus-sized classmate reduced to a punchline until Zack learned his lesson and she disappeared forever. Then came No Hope with Dope, where a movie star preached sobriety only to be caught smoking marijuana, prompting the teens to film their own PSA. It ended with NBC's president himself appearing on screen, declaring that there was no hope with dope. The intent was noble, the execution painfully artificial. Yet those episodes remain a fascinating cultural time capsule. They show a television era when networks felt responsible for moral guidance, when lessons were wrapped in laugh tracks and solved with hugs before the credits rolled. For the children who grew up watching these moments, shaped early ideas about right and wrong, even if they were simplistic. And for adults revisiting them now, the charm lies in their awkward sincerity. They remind us that the effort to teach goodness, no matter how clumsy, is still worth remembering. In their own way, those 22-minute morality plays became part of our collective conscience, a reflection of a world trying, however imperfectly, to raise better teenagers through the glow of a Saturday morning screen. Fact number 8. Behind the scenes, teen drama on screen, Bayside High, shimmered with friendship, laughter, and harmless teenage mischief. But beyond the bright hallways and pastel lockers, the cast's real lives were filled with the same chaos, crushes, and heartbreaks that every teenager endures just under the glare of fame. The chemistry viewers adored wasn't always acting. Mark-Paul Gosselaar, who played Zack, dated several of his co-stars, Lark Voorhees, then Tiffany Thiessen, and even Elizabeth Berkley. The cast became a closed world of young emotions, where romance, jealousy, and growing pains unfolded between rehearsals and live tapings. For NBC, the set was a dream factory. For the teenagers inside it, it was a maze of hormones and pressure. They were asked to look perfect, stay cheerful, and perform adult relationships before they were old enough to drive. Producers often had to play counselors when emotions spilled over, blurring the line between fiction and reality. The laughter that echoed from the audience hid the uncertainty behind the curtain. Young actors learning love, loss, and loyalty while the world watched. It's easy to forget that these bright, confident faces were still kids navigating their first heartbreaks. That unspoken truth gives the show its deeper nostalgia. Every smile on screen now carries a quiet weight, the fragile innocence of real youth captured before the world grew too complicated. Fact number 7. Casting what-ifs that would have changed everything. Television history often turns on moments of chance, and Saved by the Bell came astonishingly close to becoming something entirely different. Before Jaleel White became America's beloved Steve Urkel, he was cast in the original pilot, Good Morning, Miss Bliss. In another timeline, he might have been Zack's quirky classmate, adding a very different dynamic to Bayside's humor. But destiny redirected him to Family Matters, and pop culture was changed forever. Then there was another near-miss one that feels almost mythic. Now Angelina Jolie was reportedly considered for the role of Kelly Kapowski. Imagine the gentle, sunny cheerleader replaced by Jolie's piercing intensity, a different kind of beauty, a darker magnetism. The tone of the show might have shifted from light comedy to something far more complex. These what-ifs reveal how delicate the balance of a cultural phenomenon can be. One different casting choice, one alternate face, and the entire nostalgia of the 1990s might feel unfamiliar today. The magic of Saved by the Bell wasn't just in its scripts, but in its chemistry, a collection of actors who fit together like pieces of a youthful dream. Behind every classic series lies an invisible thread of luck, timing, and instinct. Had Jolie walked those halls or Urkel cracked his jokes beside Zack, the show might never have become the pastel-colored feel-good legend that comforted millions. In the end, perhaps the real miracle of Saved by the Bell is that it became exactly what it needed to be: imperfect, charming, and utterly unforgettable. Fact number 6. Malibu Sands and the 90210 connection. When summer arrived at Bayside, the gang traded textbooks for surfboards, and suddenly, Saved by the Bell shimmered with sunlight. The Malibu Sands episodes were pure escapism: golden beaches, bronzed smiles, and endless California skies. Yet few fans realized that this fantasy of teenage paradise was filmed not on some hidden coast, but at the same Santa Monica location used by Beverly Hills 90210. Two of the biggest youth shows of the decade unknowingly shared a universe, one steeped in teen melodrama, the other in Saturday morning innocence. That crossover of space created more than convenience. It revealed television's shared dream of California as heaven. For millions of viewers, that beach represented freedom, a life of endless summer, where problems dissolved with the tide. But it was an illusion carefully staged by two different networks, each selling a vision of youth that was both glamorous and safe. In truth, neither Bayside nor West Beverly existed. They were reflections of what America wanted to believe its teenagers were carefree golden, untouched by reality. Decades later, those Malibu Sands episodes still glimmer with warmth. The waves crash, the laughter rings, and behind it all is a gentle truth that sometimes television gives us not what is real, but what we need to remember. Fact number 5. Birth of Jesse Spano. Before Elizabeth Berkley became the voice of reason at Bayside, she almost wasn't there at all. Originally, Berkley auditioned to play Kelly Kapowski, but when producers chose Tiffany Thiessen, they did something rare. They created an entirely new character just for her. And so Jesse Spano was born ambitious, intelligent, outspoken, and unafraid to challenge the boys. Jessie transformed Saved by the Bell from a simple teen sitcom into something braver. Between jokes about dances and exams, she spoke about feminism, environmentalism, and equality topics few other shows dared to touch. Her presence gave the series balance, proving that laughter and social awareness could share the same stage. Beyond the scripts, Jessie became a symbol for young women of the early 1990s who were beginning to question the expectations placed upon them. She represented both empowerment and vulnerability. A reminder that strength sometimes comes with struggle, like in her now iconic breakdown. Without Jessie, Bayside might have remained all charm and mischief. With her, it gained a conscience. Her creation stands as one of those quiet revolutions television occasionally delivers, a spontaneous decision that ripples through decades. Jessie wasn't just another character. She was the moral spine of the show, and through her Saved by the Bell found the heart that kept it from fading into mere nostalgia. Fact number 4. Good Morning, Miss Bliss. Origins. Before the laughter echoed through Bayside's sunny halls, Saved by the Bell began somewhere very different in a small Indiana middle school called Good Morning, Miss Bliss. Few remember this quieter predecessor, a gentle classroom comedy starring Haley Mills as an idealistic teacher guiding her students through adolescence. Among those students were Zach, Lisa, and Screech, younger, less polished, and still searching for their TV identities. But the show never found its footing. After a short run, NBC decided to transform it completely. The setting shifted from Indiana to California, the characters aged up into high school, and the teacher disappeared without a trace. Only a handful of faces survived the reboot, leaving the rest behind, like ghosts of a forgotten season. No moving vans, no explanations, just a new reality, as if the Midwest years had never happened. This strange reinvention reflected the television world of the late 1980s, when networks routinely rewrote history to chase ratings. Continuity mattered less than chemistry. To viewers, it was a fresh start. To the industry, it was an experiment that worked. Saved by the Bell rose from the ashes of Miss Bliss, proof that sometimes reinvention, even when illogical, can create cultural immortality. It's a curious story about the fluidity of memory. The children who watched simply accepted the change, and decades later that quiet reboot became a metaphor for how nostalgia edits itself. We remember only what we love, and what doesn't fit quietly disappears. Fact number 3. The manufactured Zack Morris. Behind the golden hair and mischievous grin of Zack Morris stood a very different reality. Mark-Paul Gosselaar, the actor who embodied America's favorite prankster, was of mixed Dutch and Indonesian heritage, but the network had a specific image in mind. To them, Zack had to look like the all-American boy, the poster child for California cool. And so Gosselaar's natural brown hair was bleached relentlessly until it became the trademark blonde that symbolized Bayside High's charm. Beneath the fun, it was a revealing glimpse into Hollywood's obsession with image and its quiet bias. The 1990s sold a narrow version of youth, confident, white, suburban, and effortlessly privileged. Gosselar himself later admitted that Zack was modeled after popular kids he once envied, a composite of swagger and charm that made audiences swoon but hid a darker truth. The coolness was calculated. The rebellion was scripted. Still, that artificial perfection became a reflection of its time. For many viewers, Zack represented everything they wanted to be: carefree, confident, and untouchable. Yet behind the hair dye and charisma was a young actor playing a role that even he didn't entirely recognize as himself. That tension between who Zack appeared to be and who Gosselar really was gives the character a lasting complexity. He wasn't just the king of Bayside. He was a symbol of how television builds myths and how viewers, knowingly or not, fall in love with illusions. Fact number 2. The lost syndication profits. Behind every cheerful laugh track of Saved by the Bell lay one of Hollywood's oldest stories: the imbalance between youthful fame and financial reality. For decades, reruns of the series filled afternoon television blocks and later streaming catalogs. The show earned millions in syndication, becoming a timeless comfort for generations. Yet for the young cast who made Bayside High come alive, the rewards barely extended beyond their original paychecks. The contracts they signed as teenagers lacked provisions for future royalties. When the reruns began in the 1990s and continued through cable and digital platforms, the actors saw almost nothing of the fortune their performances generated. By modern standards, where sitcom stars earn residuals for decades, the cast's deal was shockingly unfair. It was a common practice at the time. Studios owned everything, while the faces on screen were easily replaceable. This harsh reality echoed the same innocence versus exploitation contrast that defined the show itself. Just as Saved by the Bell painted a world where problems vanished after each episode, Hollywood's business model quietly erased the labor behind that joy. The cast members, who once represented teenage freedom, became symbols of how the entertainment industry profits from nostalgia while leaving its creators behind. Yet even without financial reward, their legacy endured. The laughter, the color, the optimism, they became part of television history. The true value of Bayside was never in money, but in memory. Fact number 1. The Tori continuity disaster. If Saved by the Bell had one unsolved mystery, it wasn't about a relationship or a prank. It was about time itself. In 1993, two beloved characters, Kelly and Jessie, abruptly vanished from the show, replaced by a new student, the leather-jacketed Tori Scott. No explanation, no farewell, just a sudden rewrite of reality. For half a season, Tori became Zack's new partner in mischief and romance before disappearing as mysteriously as she arrived. When the graduation episode aired, Kelly and Jessie reappeared smiling, celebrating with no trace of Tori or her storylines. It was television's version of a parallel universe. To make things stranger, reruns often aired these episodes out of order, creating an unintentional time loop where characters existed and didn't exist simultaneously. Fans grew up puzzled, but strangely accepting. This continuity chaos became part of Saved by the Bell's charm. It reflected an era before social media, when audiences didn't demand explanations, and producers simply trusted that viewers would keep watching. It was television at its most human, imperfect, spontaneous, and occasionally absurd. The Tori paradox now stands as the perfect metaphor for the show's nostalgic magic. Saved by the Bell was never about realism. It was about feeling good even when logic failed. In that sense, Tori's sudden disappearance wasn't an error. It was a reminder that sometimes memory itself chooses what stays and what fades. When we look back at Saved by the Bell, it's impossible not to feel the warmth of a simpler time, when Saturday mornings glowed with color and the world felt smaller, friendlier, and full of promise. Yet behind those neon lockers and polished smiles, the show carried contradictions that made it human, a cast of real teenagers learning fame's price scripts that stumbled through moral lessons, and a network chasing innocence in an imperfect world. Each of the 12 facts reveals a different layer of that paradox. The earnest attempts to teach the quiet struggles of youth, the strange decisions that somehow built a legend. Together, they form a portrait of an era when television still believed in optimism, when every problem had a solution, and every ending came with a hug. Today, as streaming algorithms resurrect Saved by the Bell for new generations, its world feels impossibly distant, yet emotionally familiar. The laughter may sound dated, the hairstyles may belong to another century, but the longing for connection, belonging, and laughter remains timeless. Of the 12 facts, above which one surprised you the most? Was it the hidden heartbreaks, the behind-the-scenes chaos, or the secrets that made Bayside shimmer brighter than it ever should have? Let us know your thoughts below. We'd love to hear which memory hit you the hardest. Thank you for watching and for keeping nostalgia alive. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to join us for more journeys back through television's golden years. See you in the next video. This is TV Time Capsule.